Here again with another Shameless Season 5 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important. If you are caught up to the point where I am in rewatching or watching Shameless, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And for those of you that are wondering, this is the second time I've seen the show. A lot of it's good, but some of it is really bad, so join me on the journey of rewatching this show and discussing it in the comments section. This will be Shameless Season 5, Episode 7. The title of this episode is called Tell Me You Fucking Need Me. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. Fiona's hanging out on the fire escape at Gus's place drinking coffee, and Fiona tells Gus that she slept with her ex, and she says that they had sex yesterday, and he's like, we had sex yesterday, so not good. Gus is not happy. Why does Fiona do these things? She did it with Mike, now she's doing it with Gus. Ian wakes up in the psych ward, seems to be a little bit more normal, at least at the moment. Lip has to let someone into a room early in the morning. That's his responsibility, but it was like a little bit earlier than what the time he's required to do so. Carl's taking a look at himself in the mirror, and then all of a sudden something smells awful. It's Chucky. He's taking a number 2 in the bathroom with the door open. What the hell is wrong with you? Shut the fucking door when you're taking a number 2, you idiot. How many people are running through that Gallagher house and you're just taking a shit with the fucking bathroom door open? Man, what an idiot. Anyway, Sammy tells Carl and Debbie that Chucky gets nervous when he starts school, and she kind of wants Carl to help Chucky out. And he's like, well, give me condoms and nunchucks and we got a deal. So she agrees. He's like, I want magnums. Frank has out-franked Sammy, as he's just kind of ignoring her and not really thanking her for anything, and she's getting pissed. And then something moved, going to stay up the stairs. Okay, and then V is going to stay upstairs in Stan's old place where the pumping is going on, as her and Kev continue to have problems. V needs space. V says Kev will run to help the Angels at any point, and Kev says at least someone will run for them. Ooh, V's not happy by that. Gus is being quite pleasant, despite the bad news that Fiona gave him. He says he wants to meet Jimmy Steve, and Fiona's like, okay. And Ian wants to leave the psych ward. Lip's schedule is messed up, and a bunch of schedules have also gotten messed up, so he has to wait in line for a long time. Svetlana is packing up Ian's things. Mickey says, why are you doing that? Svetlana says he's moving out. He's still baby. Mickey says he's not moving out, and she can get the fuck out. Like, wow, okay. Now, I don't know where this was in the episode, but I know I forgot to put it into my notes, so I'll just say it. At some point during the episode, Sammy shows her tits to some moving guys, or garbage men, I should say, and they actually take the couch out with Frank on it as kind of like, fuck you, Frank, I got this, and like Frank wakes up in the middle of the street in the couch. But I think that's a little bit later on in the episode, but I just thought I'd mention it because I know I forgot to put it in my notes. Eric's got to go to class and jabs at Debbie's shoulder, and Carl had mentioned earlier in the episode that if he does that, he just wants to be friends, and if he holds her shoulder or her arm, he likes her. Debbie looks upset by this information, as she should be. Carol's been watching the kids for Kev while he moved V into the upstairs apartment at the Alibi, and then Carl helps Chucky out, against some bullies, and tells him he's his slave now. Lip's tuition is paused due to insufficient funds. That's not possible. I have a grant. He's told he'll have to take that up with the financial aid office. So he's got to run all the way over to this place, and he stood in line for nothing. And then when he gets there, he has to stand in line for that. Fiona goes to the Alibi. She finds out that V and Kevin are at the moment separated. Jimmy Steve shows up. He right away wants to know how Ian's doing, and him and Fiona hug. And she tells him that her husband, Gus, wants to meet him. Jimmy Steve says he's leaving for Dubai tonight, and he wants Fiona to join him. And then I put right here that Lip had to stand in line to find out what's wrong with his financial aid, essentially, or his grant thing. Fiona says, I have a husband, and Jimmy Steve mentions, why did you sleep with me then? Svetlana goes over to Kev's and starts to help with the kids because she overheard at the alibi that V was staying there. So Svetlana's like, wife here, I stay here. And she tells Kev she no longer lives in the Malkovich house. She says she lives here now. She'll sleep on the couch, cook, clean, and do all sorts of other things there. And Kev at first is like, well, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. You can help out with the kids, and I can get some potential privacy, even though he doesn't really want privacy. And it'll be nice for someone to help there, at least for the moment. Temporary. Debbie finds Holly in the bathroom. She's freaking out, like, oh, don't even start with me again. Don't beat me up like you beat me up and what's-her-face up. And she just pushes Holly up against the wall and says, how to make a guy like her more. And Holly says, well, rub him by his dick or something like that, and that'll make him like you more. She said other things. I can't remember exactly what those were, and I didn't actually take those notes. Lip finds out he has to fill out the paperwork every semester to keep his grant going. He didn't, of course, this time, and he's given 10 days to pay, what, like $12,000 or something like that? Some astronomical amount. Student loans are nothing. Don't get a student loan. They're not a good thing. Too much interest, too much of this, it's a bad idea. Go YouTube. Make lots of videos on YouTube. That's how to make money. You got to start early, though. So for all you kids out there or parents that have kids that are like teenagers, tell them to start a YouTube channel, grow the channel, and when they're older, like 18, 19, 20, maybe it'll take off and they can become full-time YouTubers. Not saying I am, but that would be my advice to anybody. Don't get a student loan. They're not worth it. So he's given 10 days to pay off the balance or his spot will go to those on the waiting list. Everyone's being nice to Chucky because Carl's being, his protector. And Mickey and Fiona go to visit. I put Mickey and Fiona are going to visit Fiona. Mickey and Fiona are going to visit Ian at the psych ward. Frank comes by and takes a picture with Chucky and Carl. Lip signs up for a bunch of credit cards to pay his tuition. Ian shows really no emotion when Mickey and Fiona visit him. Seems more like he cared about all the stuff going on in the background. And then Kev wakes up to Svetlana giving him a blowjob. Nothing he asked for. She's just doing it and saying this is part of her duties. It's wife duty as well. Well, that's interesting. Carol goes to the alibi and tells V she needs to go home. She tells Carol that Kev hasn't fucked her in a year. Ooh, I understand why V is mad. Debbie touches Eric by the groin area, and Eric kind of looks at her weirdly. What are you doing? And then Debbie starts to yell at him as she gets out of the car and ends with, I'd be a great fucking girlfriend. She doesn't say fucking. I'd be a great girlfriend. And then because Debbie does this, Eric grabs Debbie and kisses her. So that's great. Debbie's happy as hell. Ian talks to somebody at the psych ward, a doctor or therapist or something like that, psychologist. And she tells Ian he shows signs of bipolar disorder. Duh. Lip comes by the house looking for his letter. He finds it. It was like in the window. Sammy gets really pissed at Frank. She actually shoots Frank in the arm area. And Frank then apologizes. And then Sammy says, well, let's get you to the hospital. Like, wow. Sammy is a nut job. Jesus criminy. Don't mess with Sammy. She's crazy. Gus meets Jimmy Steve, whatever you want to call him. Gus punches Jimmy Steve, tells Fiona he's probably biased, but she deserves better than him. Mickey's drunk at home and falls down, and while he's lying on the ground, he sees Ian's uniform and grabs it and holds it close to him like he really misses Ian. Fiona tells Jimmy Steve she does love him, and it would be easy to go back to their old life again. Jimmy Steve says he's not going to Dubai anymore. He's ready to give up everything for Fiona. We are right together. He wants us to have a life. Tell me you want the same thing. And Fiona says, part of me does, but you have to let me go. And then he says, take care of yourself, Fiona. Take care of yourself, Fiona Gallagher. You take care of yourself, whatever your name is. And then Jimmy rides off on a motorcycle. And that is it for Jimmy Steve on Shameless. For those of you that have already watched the show, he doesn't show back up. And for those of you that haven't, guess what? I just spoiled something for you. But that's the last we see of Jimmy Steve. Unfortunately, I was really hoping to see him in the finale. And then we see that Lip goes to the post office and wants a mailbox. Doesn't want mail to go to his house anymore because, well, there's a lot of irresponsible people there. And then Angela pulls up and talks to Fiona. And she apologizes for spying on her for Jimmy Steve Jack. Because she knows him as Jack. And she mentions that the client canceled the trip to Dubai. Not Jimmy Steve / Jack. And that's something that I don't remember seeing. So that gives me a different impression of Jimmy Steve. I don't like him as much as I used to like him because he was trying to fool Fiona yet again. So yeah, he wanted to stay with Fiona because the Dubai thing got canceled. That wasn't really him being compassionate there. And then we have Frank still annoyed with Sammy because she shot Frank, and that's in the mid-credits scene, and that's what ends the episode. So, memorable episode of Shameless. Not the best, but I'm going to give it an 8.7 out of 10. And then, characters of the episode are tough for this one. For the ladies, take your pick. Fiona, Sammy, Svetlana. I kind of want to lean towards Svetlana or Fiona, though, for that. So, Sammy, she did interesting things, but I would say Svetlana and Fiona. And then for the males, Jimmy Steve didn't really do a lot in this episode, even though it's his final episode. More on him in a second. I'm going to give the male character of the episode to Carl. And then goodbye and farewell to Jimmy / Steve / Jack. Good character. Sad to see him go, but he turned out to be more of a douche in the end that I just realized that I didn't know before. So you've heard all my thoughts. Now, of course, it's your turn. If you're a fan of Shameless and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, and the video reviews of this show and other shows that I'm doing are doing really well on the channel, so I appreciate all of you that are watching these videos. But make sure you leave me more comments because I'm not getting enough comments, especially on my Shameless and Breaking Bad videos. Share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comments section about what your thoughts are. What would you rate the episode, and whom would be your male and female characters of the episode? Click right here for my Shameless series finale rant video, assuming you've seen every single episode of Shameless. It'll be with about 20 seconds left of the video right now. Click on that if you want to hear my final thoughts on the last episode. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And JDev will return.